So my Escher 95 metal gang that I've been featuring on the channel lately is kind of complete. I say kind of because there are still a few models that I'm trawling through eBay to try and get hold of, but for the purposes of showing it off on the channel and the purposes of the campaign I'm involved in, the gang is kind of done, so we'll show you it. So there's 6 models to the left that you've not seen on the channel before, the 3 in the little clump on the right here, hopefully you've seen that in the How to Paint Escher Gangers video, and then the 3 Juves at the back have also featured in their own video, as has the terrain that's in the background to do a really nice ruined underhive. So I say kind of complete, yeah, I'm going to find more, I'm going to add to it, but I'm just going to talk in this video through, 1, showing off this gang because it's a bit of fun, and 2, talk about modern Necromunda versus old Necromunda, and I really like the face on this model, that's why I've zoomed in. I've been a fan of Necromunda since it came out in 1995, but I really do think over the last few months and stuff that I definitely prefer old Necromunda. I definitely prefer these old metal miniatures, and I do prefer the old game versus the new game. Now that could be because I'm a crusty old gamer and it's a nostalgia factor, and you might think, Adam, you're talking absolute nonsense, the modern game is so much better, but bear with me, I'm going to talk through this. Feel free to disagree with everything I say because, you know, everything about this hobby is your personal opinion, so all my comments here, just take it as for me. For me, I feel that the old game is better, and it kind of starts by looking at the books. The stack on the right is the modern Necromunda, but only the books that focus on the actual underhive. None of the Ash Waste books are in this stack. I have actually got rid of all my Ash Waste books, and I've pretty much stopped buying the books since the last Ash Waste one. I can't remember what the last one I bought was. I think the last Ash Waste thing I bought was the Ridge Crawler, which was an amazing model, and I loved it. It was great. I did a video on the channel for it. But after that, we started introducing armoured vehicles, flying bikes, those kind of things. And I think the game has turned into what 40k used to be. It's no longer that small skirmish game. You can end up having vast gangs, tons of cool equipment, and it is cool equipment, and it is great. But for me, it's lost the core of what Necromunda used to be. Now, I'm saying here that the Necromunda rulebook on the left is all the rules. Now, there were other expansions, but predominantly everything is in this one hardback book. The other kind of expansions, I think most of them got rolled into that book. Some didn't, but you kind of get my gist. Now, when this book came out, I absolutely loved the re-release of Necromunda. Some of the rules are definitely better. The alternating activations and stuff I absolutely adore. And it is a great game. And at the time, everything that came out I painted. I think on the channel, Eros Slagmist, there's a painting video on there. I'm 99% sure it is. I got the Bounty Hunter. I got literally everything as it was coming out. Grendel Grendelson, he's in a video somewhere on the channel, I believe. So is the kind of Hive Scums and things. So I was really, really committed and into Necromunda. A massive campaign I was involved in at the time when all this came out. And I bought the books as they went. But again, it started to expand past the point of being a small skirmish game. I ended up with just as big a forces, not quite, but just as big a forces from a Necromunda as I almost had in a 40k game. And I think that for me then blurred the lines of what Necromunda versus 40k was. Go back to this old book. Look, the book is clearly dated. The artwork in it is not as good as the modern artwork. Even I can say, even with nostalgia, it's not. But it's a compact, tight game where even if you've got some of the biggest gangs in the world, you might top out at 20 models. And there's rules in it to say, your gangs have got too big, split them. So that's kind of first rant over. Second rant over, and bear with me, is about the physical models. Now, I love these models. They're great. They are. Just on a recent corridor painting video. But here's the issue with them that I think makes them not as good as original Necromunda. The 2 torsos, as you're showing there, are exactly the same. Okay, they're armed differently, and in every video I do with the plastics, I say paint different bits in different colours to differentiate the gang more, but at the core, these models have the same torsos. So they're going to blend in and take away a little bit of character from the gang. Now, you can do conversions, of course you can chop legs off, you can do all those kind of things, but fundamentally, they're going to be a bit more similar. The other thing is size. So the models are coming out and they are all very, very similar size. And in reality, that's not what humans are like. Humans are all different sizes, all different shapes, all different kind of things like that. And I think that's what some of the old models have in abundance, that kind of variability. So there's my leader figure. You know, she's festoon, she's pistol, bolt pistol, several knives, etc. You move on to who's going to be my kind of second in charge in my head of the gang. So more of an agile sniper, nowhere near as much equipment on her, but she's got some fancy parts, etc. Colour schemes, by the way, if you're interested, that Ganger video I've done a couple of weeks ago, it's the same paint schemes, and that's kind of why I'm not showing you how I painted these first 6 on the channel. So these first 6 I've painted in the background with the same scheme I've done already. Heavy stubby you've seen there, for me, my favourite heavy weapon. This face for some reason came out really, really well, and I'm really impressed with how this model looks. Again, you know, auto gun pistol kind of standing in a kind of come at me pose, and then the next model comes up and she's screaming and running towards you into hand-to-hand combat. They're all different shapes and sizes. I mean, they're all still, let's be honest, very lithe, acrobatic kind of people, but they're not kind of, you know, all mono height. Shotgun wielding, kind of walking forward, looking a bit hard, but, you know, Sarah Connor Terminator vibes with the shotgun type stuff. So every model's different. I think that's because of how they were sculpted back in the day. Each individual model was sculpted, each idea was kind of conceptualized, and really it's almost like each model is their own little character and their own little vignette of how they are going to operate. You can do that with the plastics, of course you can. But I think the character that comes out in these really, to me, sells it more than things. Now, I would love if they were to do some modern resculpts with this kind of vibe in them, that each model was different, but that would be probably prohibitively expensive in plastic. Now, here's the thing that I think separates old from new. Look at this scaling. The Juve on the right is substantially smaller than the Ganger. Necromunda was all about underhive gangs, recruiting the kids into the gangs, starting them down a life of crime, fighting the rival houses, that kind of thing. And I think modern Necromunda has lost that, probably for good reasons, because you don't really want to talk about child soldiers in a war game, and effectively that's what this was. But I think that adds so much character to the game, and I kind of think the modern game's lost it. Now, this was a bit of a rant, bit of a whinge. I'm not trying to be negative. I love the modern game, do not get me wrong. But I think the old game for me just has that little bit of a pull that separates it. And it makes it very, very distinct from 40k, 30k, whatever. I think the new game's become a little bit sort of too similar. If you agree with me or disagree with me, comment down below. Quick fly through the gang. And yeah, I hope I haven't put you off. If I haven't, I will see you on another video.